Okay, so today I'm going to show you guys just the unpacking of our Matrix 2 bottle filler. So we have our control panel here. It'll come with the keyboard and mouse. You'll also have a power supply and just the control monitor. You're going to have 4 cables. I have 2 of them right here. These ones are going to be for my steppers. They're going to have a cable like this and a cable like this on the end of them. And the steppers are basically the motors. And then the plane that goes left to right is your x-axis, and the plane that goes back and forth is your y-axis, if I refer to them. You're then also going to have your pump tubing. You're going to have your custom trays. And then the other 2 wires I actually already hooked up, which are your limit switches, and we'll get into those in a bit. So first thing we're going to do is hook up our stepper wires, and I got these kind of all tangled, but what you'll do is on this cabinet over here, you got some labels over here. The 2 bottom ones are for your stepper motors or your axis motors, and the 2 top ones here are your limit switches. So I'm going to start with the motors, and I'm going to start with the very first one, which is the x-axis, and you just kind of spin this plug until it gets into the cabinet. And I'm just going to kind of wire these up messy, but what you want to do is I usually like to just wrap the wires around the machine. And this is the x-axis motor right here, so I'm just going to plug it in. When you're doing this, make sure the machine is off and just not plugged in. That way nothing bad can happen. I'm going to do the same thing with the y-axis now. So I'm going to go ahead and just screw in the plug, and then I'm going to take the wire, and again, you guys can do the wires however you want, zip tie them up, make them look all pretty. I'm just doing this real quick for demonstration. Now the limit switches, this limit switch up here is your x-axis, and what you want to do is hook these up where your switch up here, this big part, you want the 2 connections down at the bottom on. And then same thing on the y-axis. See if I could get that one. You're going to want to hook them up on the 2 bottom ones there. See if I get a good picture of that. So the 2 bottoms, you just hook those up. You want to be real gentle with those connections. You really don't want to snap them off. So just make sure you're real gentle with them, and you'll be good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and just plug those into the control panel now. Let's see, so this guy's going to be the X. That's what I want. So I'm just going to plug him into the cabinet, screw it on. Same thing with the Y. Let's see. Y is going to be this one. We give you guys about 10 feet of cable. That way you have enough cable to move it wherever you want. And again, you can make your guys' wires as pretty as you want. Okay, so the machine is all wired up to the frame. Now what we're going to do is plug in the control panel. And this plug just plugs in right there for you guys. So I'm just going to plug it in, and when we ship it, we always just install the keyboard dongle and make sure it's all working for you. So we just leave that plugged in. So I'm just going to go ahead and plug that in, and then right over here you have your buttons, and I'm just going to keep it off for right now until I put power to the cabinet, but I will push this top button to power it on. Okay. Next, what we're going to want to do is this green cable, or yours might be a different cable, but it's basically an regular Ethernet cable. This I'm also going to plug into the control panel so it can talk to the machine, and it just plugs in right over here. Just plug that guy in. And we're already on the last step. Next, I just need to plug the machine in. Again, make sure the machine is off, the key's off. You can actually push the e-stop down and make sure that's on, that it's actually engaged. go ahead and plug that in. Go ahead and turn the key on. And I turned the key on, but I don't have a light on because my e-stop is on. So if I twist the e-stop, that green light's going to kick on, which means there's power to the cabinet. Now what I'm going to do is turn on the control panel. And now the control panel is going to fire up. I usually always like to turn on the cabinet and then turn this on, but you can do either or. Since it does work off of a network, if this goes on first, it might say offline or something like that. Just give it a minute to boot up and everything will fire up just fine. And actually that's what it would say if this guy's not booted before the control panel is. I'm just going to go ahead and hit. This is kind of a good example. If it does not start right away, go ahead and just turn it off and turn the control panel back on. I might have been a little bit too click happy in letting things try to go real fast. So we will turn it back on here. For tubing, let me grab some tubing and I'll just kind of show you that as well. Got some extra tubing over here. For the nozzle, you don't really need to zip tie this on or anything. You just kind of just slide it on the nozzle. I usually hold it here. And then, of course, your tubing's going to be longer. You would basically wrap it around the pump and you can actually stick it in your vat up there or something. Anyway, here we go. The control panel loaded. So from here, you would basically load up your program. If we did program your bottles already, you would basically just load up your tray. Okay, so what you want to do now is load in your tray. So this big circle up here, you just want to make sure is in the upper right hand corner. You go ahead and put that in. And then on the control panel, I'm just going to hit home and see what it does here. You can see the machine is firing up. This x-axis just found itself. The y-axis is finding itself. And like I was saying earlier, if we did install a demo program, you could go ahead and use the control panel and open that up. So I'm going to go ahead and just open those settings. And I should be set to go. I could go ahead and hit cycle start. And if I had bottles in here and the pump on, everything would be running. So basically our setup is that quick. We did have the one hiccup in the beginning. Again, if this control panel doesn't load, just hold that power button down, let the system restart, and it should find itself. And then we have a lot of videos of how to use the control panel and everything like that. If something strange is happening on your system and you're not sure what to do, just go ahead and push that big red button up there, and you can see everything just stops. That is your E-switch. Please use it if something does happen. If you have any questions on how to set this up, please contact us at www.rockymountainplc. Thank you and have a great day.